Hello and welcome to Devotions. My name is Keith Reed and I am the pastor of Memorial Presbyterian Church of Winona. And today I want to share the idea of stories. Our lives are a collection of stories. And how we understand the stories of our life determines how we see ourselves and how we see the world around us and even God. Oftentimes, when we think about the stories of our lives, we end up focusing on the negative. Megan is a girl that I met who was struggling with her relationship with her mother. She would lash out against her mother to the point where she needed to be separated from her mother for a couple of months. During those months, she learned a couple things. She learned how to deal with her temper and her anger, probably throwing pots at the kitchen table was not a good idea. But she also learned how to look at her stories in her life and how to interpret them differently. Instead of seeing her mom as this person that was out to get her and didn't care for her, which there were certain moments in her story that sounded true. But there were other moments that showed that her mother worked her fingers to the bone to support her, and that she fought hard to make sure that her daughter had everything she needed. Megan began to see that her mother had her own strength and tenacity and used that to help not just the mother herself, but to also help her daughter. And Megan learned that her anger was something that could really be detrimental, but that there were moments that when her anger came out, there could be good if she channeled it. She remembered one story when she was a third grader and there was this fourth grader in recess that was bullying a friend of hers. And so she stood up for her friend. And in the midst of standing up for her friend, she pushed the bully. So who gets in trouble? It's not the bully, Megan. And Megan took that story to say, see, the whole world's out to get me, and I'm going to be even more angry and more angry. After some counseling and after some tools of behavior and after some reinterpreting stories, she began to see that that story was meant to help define her. I'm a person who cares for people that get stepped on. And I am meant to help them not lash out, but to figure out ways to overcome the adversity. Megan now works as a social worker who helps single mothers without families. It's a lonely and scary world for those women. And Megan makes sure that they are tapped into the resources they need that are both financial as well as psychological and spiritual. Megan believes that her story isn't just a random story, but is tied to God's story. That God has a message for her, that there is hope, that there is an expectation that if she listens to her story and understands what it has to offer her, she has enough energy, enough love, not only for herself, but to share with others. And she gets to be a part of God's creating a better world. How do you interpret your story? What are some of those stories that have hurt you, and how can you either push them aside or reinterpret them to be hopeful? Just like she reinterpreted her understanding of how her mother was relating to her. And how can you see that God truly is in you and with you, supporting you and guiding you? Interpret your story. Not in a way that hurts, but in a way that helps. Have a blessed day.